Good morning. Welcome to Information Architecture Thursday. It's a beautiful, bright, sunny day if you're in Toronto. Today is going to be assignment, lab, or final report day. We have covered all of the material, so that means we have time to work on either the assignment for this week and or which is the user flow. And by now you should have submitted the navigation flow. And or you can also work on the final report for the Roots Canada project as well. So that is the plan for today. So it's really up to you how you will want to spend the time. I will be around. I will be able to answer any question that you might have as well. So this is time for us to meet if need be, and we can do it here. And yeah, so it's going to be really up to you what you want to do in the session. And I would say for the next sessions, but we do need to make sure that we are doing the assignment for the user, the final project report. So these hours are blocked for you, and I would say it's probably easier if as teams you actually work on the final report, which is the group exercise. I can create breakouts as well and then you guys can shift in the rooms and then meet your teams, then use the breakout rooms to work on a report as well. That is how you could use the time. That said, let's look at the final project. Before we do so, are there any questions about yesterday when it comes to user flow? Okay, so let's talk about the final project then. As long as it's readable, Angel. So if it's going to be clear and understood, my preference would be digital, because you would be expected, I would say, in most businesses to probably do a digital version. But if you're more comfortable doing a sketch, that's fine too. But make sure that all the elements are included as well. Okay. So let's look at the final report projects. And that's not what I want to be sharing. This is okay. So this is Blackboard. Then hold on with me. Bear with me. Okay, great. So the final project is doing everything that we've done, but for Roots. As I said, you will take all of the skills and the new learning from this class, and you will apply it to a redesign of the information architecture and the navigation. If you think that there's a need to redesigning the navigation, primarily for the responsive website. So that means it's Roots Canada. Let me just open Roots. So it's Roots Canada, which I would say most of you probably know or probably heard of. I now need to share Roots as well. So this is the Roots Canada website, and we're interested in the mobile, particularly in the mobile responsive version, for multiple reasons, which I will share with you. But this is a site. So if you think of, when we say mobile responsive design, some people may actually still think of a mobile app. But this is their desktop version, but mobile responsive. What does this mean is they are concerned, or they're very interested in knowing, how do we improve the mobile responsive experience of our site from an information architecture, labeling information architecture, choices, grouping choices, and also the navigation. So that is the primary focus. But what we're seeing now is the desktop version. But what if I minimize my screen, which you all know how to do, then this is now what you see. You see a version of the site that, I just want to open up Blackboard, a version of the site that looks like the mobile version. So this is what they're primarily interested in. So we have to look at, is the experience of the mobile version as we see it now optimal? From a choice of category to labels to the navigation, and thinking the information architecture and the navigation. They also have a list of features as well that you will discuss in the brief that they're interested in thinking of, but this is a redesign exercise. So this is a Roots website, and you look at it now as if you were looking at a mobile responsive from your mobile devices. They use the burger, so they use the hamburger. I can create an account, and these are the categories that they have. So you really need to pay attention to the categories as well. This is what they sell. They sell clothes, they sell apparels, they sell bags under leather, which I think will probably surface as a challenge in the cart sorting. I really encourage you to spend time on discovering the different categories and including the categories in your cart sorting. This is, I would say, this is probably 60% of where people are spending time when they come to Roots. Now, they have other areas, obviously. They have about them as well. And they have, I believe, a section for help, about us, not here. So I think the footer navigation has information about Roots at your service. So store locator, pick up a store, delivery options, shop social, returns, track order, contact us. This is a footer navigation now that we're looking at on the mobile version as well. So you would definitely want to include some of the items from the footer navigation. So you see what happens when you're on a mobile device. When you're on the desktop, they are exposing, right? They are exposing all of the items on the footer nav. So contact us is expanded. But when I shrink, what we see is they are collapsed. So level one, only level ones are exposed in the footer nav, if we want to refer to a level one. And then as you roll over, they expand them as well. So we need to make sure that we do include categories that we see from level one, top level one. So that is the website. So what they have shared with us, they're pretty happy with the desktop version of Roots Canada, but they're more concerned about the mobile responsive version. Perhaps it is an issue, perhaps it's not an issue, but we should believe that they have enough data to indicate that there's a need to rethink about the information architecture based on feedback that they might have received or based on the analytics that they have gone through. So very, very important to focus on a mobile. You can look at it from a device, which you should, because how we interact on the device is very different than how we interact with a mouse. But if you want to look at it from your desktop, just minimize and you will get a feel for what the mobile experience is. So this is a group project. It is 30% of your mark and it's due for March 10. If we feel that we need more time, I could extend, but it's not going to be a week extension. It would be a question of a few days. So I would say better if we just start working on the final report now with your teams. Here's a client brief. Imagine you'll be redesigning the responsive website for Roots Canada website. So I give you the URL, and this assignment is the first set of deliverables to your client. So they've never seen any of your deliverables. So they've never seen anything from you in the past. They don't know how you work. They don't know how you think. They don't know your any of your diagrams or your nomenclature. They don't understand your IA system. They don't understand how navigation, how you will define the navigation. So keep in mind that this is a first-time client, so they know little about your work. So you need to be explicit, obviously. So the main objective, so what Roots has shared with me, and again, as I've mentioned, we are working with Roots on another class, the user experience design in organization. Roots is our client, so we are engaged for the full semester with Roots. So we're looking at their website, their experiences. We're doing consumer survey as well. We had to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. I didn't want to do this with this class. So what I'm sharing with you is you need to treat it confidential. It's confidentiality as well. Anybody else? And but what I'm sharing with you is very minimum. Most of what I have shared with you is actually available through digital tools. So a lot of the data that I'm sharing with you is actually accessible online and on the web. So, and some of it I have make it up as well. So for the purpose of this class. Overall, they want to improve their overall business performance. So, and this is public. Roots went public in 2017. So Roots to be private, they were just private investors. They've decided to become public and have shareholders and go public on the market. They've done that in 2017. But we are noticing when we look at Roots and their business performance, there's a major decline in September in 2018. So they've been declining and declining, and then COVID came in. COVID did not help. So we see a decline in COVID, but the decline had started a while ago in 2018. So as you can imagine, Roots is challenged with the market. Roots is challenged with the competition, and Roots is very much challenged with COVID, like anybody else, I would say, is at this point. They want to improve the mobile responsive experience for their customer, for their top customer. I will be sharing with you who the customers are. They obviously want to increase sales. They don't care where the sales are happening. They're happy if the web mobile version will actually get someone to go to a store. They will be happy if someone calls to make a sale. They will be happy if someone does chat. They don't care where the customer chooses to do business. So the goal of this project is not to prioritize one over the other. But think of it. If someone is online, the level online is probably higher than someone who does not have a mobile device, who's actually not even looking at Roots Canada, who may just choose to go to a store. But you do not want to prioritize online. That's not their goal. But you need to make sure that it's easy for someone who wants to do it online. And as I said, the chances are they probably want to do it online too. But if they do want to go to a store, if they do want to go and pick it up at the store, they need to be able to do that as well. So Roots, from Roots' point of view, both need to almost be equal. Store or shopping. When Sarah was sharing with us some sketches that she's done for the bakery, she walked us through different navigation that she would use based on the business objective. The first sketch that she shared with us was for the business wanting to actually push people to store locations. Then she shared with us a navigation that she would actually put together for the scenario where they actually want to push online sales as well. And you can have a hybrid. So Roots right now is very much about pushing online, but they have store. You can see your store location. You can buy online, or you can actually go and pick it up to a store too if you want. So I would say they're treating equally. And then the categories are there so that you can buy online, but there's also options for you to buy to a location if you want to. Are there any questions so far? Okay. If there are, please feel free. As I said, they want to increase the number of categories that customers buy at Roots. So, and this is, I would say, and this is typical for any businesses, any retailer, even restaurants. I used to work in restaurants. I worked at Red Lobster in my hometown. in 1991. We had so much pressure to sell a lot of items to customer. Make sure they buy an appetizer. Make sure they have, actually, it would start with make sure they have a drink. Make sure they drink. Make sure they have a cocktail. Make sure they buy a cocktail. Then make sure they buy an appetizer. Make sure that they buy the bread, not the free bread, but the one that is with cheese, melted cheese. Make sure that they buy extra plates. So the main plates and some extras. Make sure they buy dessert. Dessert was a big thing. Make sure that you buy dessert. So we were measured by how many items customer on average would buy. So, and we would get in trouble if we would only be selling a main dish with water or soda drink. So the same thing with Roots. Roots wants to make sure that we facilitate customer who comes to maybe just buy an item. Maybe I want to buy sweatpants. And the timing is very good because a lot of us are working from home. So we wear sweatpants. We wear more relaxed, I would say, items that we would when we're at the office. So one of the objective is how do we facilitate the upsell, convincing customer to actually buy other items than the items that brought you to Roots in the first place. So that's a very, very important element you may want to consider. So how do we do this? Anybody has an idea of how we would recommend or how we would do this, trying to upsell or trying to get someone to buy other items? You've all been shopping online, so I think you have a good sense of what I'm referring to. Yes, go ahead, Lillian.
When I used to work in a clothing store, we would always be told to upsell accessories like socks and stuff like that. And so they would put it at the cash till, and then they would say to us like, oh, you know what actually works? If someone's buying one item, you can suggest like, oh, these socks would look so great with your pants. And I was surprised at how often that worked. Like, I was like, that's so dumb. Who would want to buy like extra socks because I tell them to? And I sold so many socks doing that. Like,
that's awesome. Well, yeah. So you can use that experience, right? And see, how do I do this online? So if you remember yesterday, we were looking at task and user flow, and then we discussed about think of what the step that the customer would actually go through. So Lillian just shared with us. She said, well, people will come and buy, go to the cashier. And then we would say, hey, how do you feel? What about those extra socks that we have? They would actually match perfect. And Lillian just said, it works very well. So we could have described this in sentences, like words, and say, here's what happened in the store. We're not even talking about being online. So we kind of did like a quick task analysis of what happened from the retailer, from the actual sales agent, Lillian being the sales agent. And she said it works. So could we do something similar online? Then this is where now you guys can start thinking about. So do we do this in the shopping cart? When do we do this? Do we do it before? Do we do it just before the last? I don't know. So you can think of this. So in this redesign, they will be very open to this and very interested. So thank you, Lillian. That's great. So use that retail experience. I worked at Eddie Bauer. For clothing, my retail experience is Eddie Bauer. So I worked at Eddie Bauer. I think that was my only retail. Another one was Bedeau, but they were French Canadian. So I was in Montreal, I think, back then. It's fun. It's fun business. Actually, it's surprising how it works. Lillian, you're right. It does work, but it does annoy some customer, but it does work in a lot of cases. And actually, the people, but I think it comes with personality too. You need to be very good and very Red Lobster. They were so good. They would sell so many items. And of course, people would measure us against them, right? But I don't know how they did it, but they were just very convincing. They were just like so convincing. Oh my God, like we have those very, very good escargot, gratinés. They're awesome. Like they would just so convince you. They were so convincing. I think there needs to be a lot of convincing too. So don't forget this. And I think we had essential items that go with the item you bought. Yes, so absolutely. So making recommendations, right? This item actually goes very well with this item. And if maybe you want to subscribe to Roots Canada email, if you haven't, and see what kind of emails you will get. Lately, they've been pushing boxes. It's almost like a little box that has those extra socks and the sweatpants. And they actually call it work from home comfort. It's called comfort in confidence. So the comfort in confidence right now that we're looking at is pretty much about working from home, but looking good, but working from home and being feel good as well. So I think it's an exciting time and an exciting project because it's happening real time. They functionality. So they have a lot of functionalities that you actually discover, you don't even know that they're available. And that's one of the challenge with Roots, I would say, that I have seen. They have some good functionality, but we don't know them until we actually come across them through discovery. The risk with discovery is you may never spend enough time to even discover and know that they're available to you. But with mobile, with the mobile responsive version, we are limited in the space that we have. So you're going to need to be very, very precise on the prioritization of what do we see first, what do I see second, what do I see third. But don't be worried about that in your card sorting. But when you think of navigation and how you will actually move from the IA to a navigation system, this is where you're going to need to make choices. But they want to reveal more functionality. But how do we reveal more functionality in a small environment? There are ways to do that. Do we have anybody who has maybe an idea of how can we enough functionality in a small base environment? Anybody has ideas? I know it's a hard question. Here's an idea. Can you? Yes. So with mobile, because we're limited in space, right now we're looking at the desktop version. So there are a lot of we can see a lot more on the desktop than if I go mobile friendly. So how Roots Canada want to expose more features, more functionality to this experience here. But we're on mobile. Mobile is very limited in what we can do. But I'll give you some hints. Let's pretend that I create a profile and I'm a man. Maybe this is all I need to see. I don't need to see shop men, women, shop kids. Show me things that have to do with men. That is one way to remove some options right now that are not relevant to me. Yeah, we can do smaller pictures. We can do relevancy. So if I build a profile and I know that I'm a man, maybe the default now becomes a man. I don't have anything that talks about men or women or kids, but they're still accessible for me if I want at some point, but they become secondary elements and not all at the same level or not in the same part of the same experience. Another way that we can actually play with eventually, but it may be hard to achieve all of this in this redesign for this project because we're only going to stop at the navigation level. But this is more for you to think about or think for other projects. So make functionality relevant to the customer stages. For example, if I have an order that hasn't shipped yet, that is about to be prepared and delivered and shipped to my home address to a store, you can have different functionality presented to me versus me who has no items, who has maybe just visited the website once, or who has never visited the website. So they have a lot of functionality, but the functionality that they're thinking about, which I share with you in a document, may be more relevant at certain stages as a customer. The same customer will see more functionality, but relevant times, if that makes any sense. So yeah, smaller picture, or maybe that can go on the upper cart. So there are things that we can do in the burger too, or we can do in the cart. But I think you're gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun with trying to meet some of those challenges. But I know we're not gonna be able to solve for everything, but I want you to be aware of these things. They want to become a true omni-channel brand. So mobile is mobile, but really there's a mobile responsive experience because the chances are, and we do know for a fact that most customers that are coming to Roots are coming from a mobile device. So people are in movement on their phone when they actually go to Roots. Maybe they get an email, maybe they're on social, maybe they click on a banner ad, but 60% of their traffic will come from a mobile device. But a smaller number will actually buy from mobile. So Yeah, we can think of Pinterest board. You guys can be creative and think about how others have done too. Now they have a shop. They are shop. They also have a shop. I can buy Shop Social. They call it Shop Social, and then I haven't really tried that experience, but you can also do Shop Social if you want. But make sure that you don't lose sight that we are interested in the mobile experience, the mobile responsive experience from Roots Canada for their main website. But that doesn't mean that we can't think of other features if that happen outside. But your main focus has to be rootscanada.com. But they want to be a true omni-channel brand. So that means they want to give customer the choice. They want to give customer the choice to buy the items where they want to buy it as well. Now, that could also mean that there are some features that may be more relevant when you're maybe there are things that you may want to do at the store. Maybe you want to scan your phone. Maybe you want to scan, maybe there's a barcode that you can scan and collect points and rewards. Maybe they're not doing that today, or they are. I don't know. Maybe the website has a feature that allow you to scan to see the price of an item for if the item is not there's no price when you go to a store, or maybe you want to see how many are left, or sizing. Is there a medium for that model? Which usually the clerk always has to go and find. So you can be creative. You can think of these things. But I'm primarily interested. They are primarily interested though in the information architecture we design, which is the core of this class. And we think about the categories. We think about the categories. We think about the levels, and we think about the navigation. But I think it's good for you to know that these other things are in their mind too. They definitely want to improve the product categories, the filters, and the navigation within the categories. So that means you have to make sure that you will spend time looking at the categories that they have. And in your cart sorting, you definitely need to include the categories. So the level one, the new, woman, men, kids, sweats. So I'll be very curious to see what happens with sweats. Sweatpants, sweater, leather. They have, look at the leather category. There's some big items here that I've never thought they even sell because they've put everything on the leather. But I think we need to surface some of leather, but I don't want to influence you. Footwear, about us and sell, search, and the cart. These will definitely need to be in your cart sorting. What you want to do as well. Now we're touching, but improving the category, very, very important. So we do need to spend time on looking at the men categories that they have, and then they have clothing, tops, bottoms. So make sure you include all, I would say, everything that you see on this view for women, for men, for kids. Maybe you don't spend as much time on kids. Maybe you say our sorting will be more about women and men, which is most of their audience. So I'm trying to give you some hints on how you could prioritize your cards. And maybe sweat is one of the biggest product. Maybe you do not want to include as many items for girls, for kids, but maybe you want to do more items for women, men, and sweat and leather. Leather has some good items, and footwear as well. But they're very well known for their sweatpants, sweat hoodies, and then the leather. They actually have their own leather, and they actually put together and produce their own leather bags here in Toronto, I was told. So pretty impressive. But do spend time on the product category. So there is also filters. So if you look at tops, they also have a set of filters. You see that little filter bar that also appears. And then maybe you do want to spend time. They have other categories, subcategories, I call them. And you're going to have fun. It's a fun card sorting exercise. They want to surpass their competition. So obviously, every business wants to do better than the competition. But they have a lot of work to get there. And I have shared with you some of the competitor. Improve the brand awareness and brand awareness. Sorry, there's a typo here. I will fix it. And then I share with you some data that shows brand awareness. These are how many searches how many people are searching on. Okay, so let me stop sharing this, and I will share with you. I'm gonna go back, open up a new window. So bear with me. back to the assignment. Okay, so I share with you from Google Trends. If you don't know Google Trends, you should make note of it. GoogleTrends.com. It gives you an opportunity to look at how often people search on keywords, which I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that early on. This is a very, very important platform. So it shows search, when do people search on Roots Canada. You can put any terminology if you want. You can play with 5 years, the last 90 days, 60 days. You see, it's very, very, a lot of people will search on Roots. It's very seasonal, and it's during the holiday. So, or back to school as well. So I think this is around back to school, holiday season. This is when a lot of people will actually be searching on Roots. Then I share with you the best time of the best time of the year, or holiday and the major holidays. So I would say the school, and then we have the holiday. The highest peak is during Christmas time. Then I share with you the main customer. So I didn't share a lot of information about the main customer, but I would say their main customer are the B2C. So the consumer, the regular consumer, they have people that live rural, that are urban, that really depend online because there's no store nearby them. You also have people that are urban, have the store, rural don't really have the store access. Male and female equally. 16 to 24 is their age brackets that they share with us. And people that are very brand advocate, and they've been following them and they've known them. So they probably get them as kids, who then become adults and who become loyal and stay loyal to the brand. But I do not share a lot of information about the profile because they share a lot of info, and that would probably going to be become confidential. But I think you could probably get an idea. And as I said, I would probably focus on women and men and the leather. Maybe you don't spend as much time on the kids, because we do know that male and female and men and women are the biggest audience in terms of who's buying the product from them. But they have families and people are buying kids. But you don't want to sort 1,000 cards. You want to pick the ones that are more relevant to what we're trying to do. So I share with you the customer goals. So these are the things that why people come to online. They want to order online. They want to ship to store. They want to do curbside. They want a home delivery. So I'm repeating with you what we see on the line online, but this is already designed. You may want to challenge ship to store. What is ship to store? Okay, great. So, but how do I care? I ship to store and curbside are probably one of the same. I want to do two things as a consumer, I would think. I want to buy online, or I want to go and get it to a store. So how it gets to me, I don't care. And we've seen sites that will say ship to a store or ship from a store. But I don't think that your Roots uses ship from a store, because at the end of the day, it's still shipping to your home. Who cares how it gets to your home, whether it's warehouse or whether it's a store? I don't think it makes a difference. You probably want to include it in your cart sorting. Then I share with you all the other things that the customer wants to do. They want to buy original and park plaid lounge pants. These are apparently very popular products that they actually sell. How do I get to those park plaid lounge pants, sweatpants online if I browse? I don't know. Shop for hoodie and sweatpants. They love the hoodies and the sweatpants are very popular. Maybe I want to create an account. Maybe I want to track an order. Maybe I want to return on exchange. Maybe I want to find out where an item is available. If I want to pick it up to the store and I really like this sweatpants and I don't want to wait and I want to pick it up to the store, I want to find out which store has it. So I think the experience today is you have to pick a store. They will tell you pick a store instead of just saying, show me where it's available and show me the closest to my store that I picked and I gave you. So I think you will see a lot of opportunities. So I share with you some device. And why do we do mobile responsive? Is most people are coming from a mobile phone or even a tablet. They're not so much interested in a tablet. But funny enough, though, mobile and tablets are like 75% of all of their audience. Their top products. So I share with you the top products that you can get a sense that are popular. People are searching on those top products. So I found these search based on search volume. So I've looked at Google AdWords and I found what are people searching when they search Roots, and these are the things that people are searching for Roots. So if they're searching for those products in large number, which I think is like 5,000 searches a month, well, it's probably a likelihood that these are the products people want to buy. How easy can I get to these products? Know it today. So how use that for your prioritization. They have competitor, so you can look at competitor, and then I share with you a bunch of features as well that they've shared with me or us or I invented that I just don't know how they're supported and where and how to support it. So you may want to look at that too, and you will need to include features that you think that maybe are missing or features that maybe are obsolete. So are there any questions about the brief and what Roots is trying to do? And again, I can't share details with you, but what I have shared with you is available public. But are there any questions about the scope or the intent or the objectives of Roots so far? If this is the first time that you're exposed to the final project, then that's okay. But make sure that you actually go through the details and list your questions. And then we can discuss them for the next week, today, and next week, and then you guys will have to submit your final report the following week. What do you need to do in this project? There are 4 components to this project, and I will not tolerate anything missing from the final report. So you have to make sure that you're following the instructions. And as I said, I have been flexible in the assignments, in the lab and the assignments. There were quite a lot of times where there were at least a piece missing from most assignments. And yes, you would have lost some points. Probably I could have been harder and remove more points in those evaluations, but I understand it's learning. But right now, this is the final, so you've gone through instructions, and you should know by now what I expect. And I need to make sure everything is included in this assignment. So it would be a shame of losing points for something that I knew you knew, but you just didn't think of adding it to your assignment. So the first major component is the cart sorting. So you're going to need to do what you did for our cart sorting assignment for Roots website. So first you will create an inventory of the existing content of the website. So you can do it manually. So you can just go manually and checking and listing, or you can download a free trial version of any tool out there. If you go Google and crawl or scrape website tools, or you will find there's a multitude of them. You can sign up for free trial, and it will give you an extract of all the pages, but you will end up with a lot of pages. I would say it's probably easier if you just go manually, and then you pick the areas that you some hints based on the business objective and the users and the priorities. It would be easy to do. This is what I actually did for Nightwood. I went to Nightwood manually, and then I came up with the cart sorting exercise for Nightwood. I just did it manually. It doesn't take much time. Then you can really focus on the areas that you want to focus as well. Now, speaking of focus, always keep in mind, Roots is interested in 2 things. They want to get new customer, but they also want to, they don't want to increase cost. So they want customer to be self-serve. They want customer to be able to, once I have an order, I want to be able to view my order. I want to be able to track my order without having to call. I want to be able to do my returns and know where to go find my return, right? Without having to call. So don't just focus on your cart sorting for elements about sales. Also focus on cart sorting elements for customer, so that they don't feel that they need to call every time that they want to do business with me. So when you do your content inventory manually, make sure that you focus on sales content and also self-service, customer service content. Very important. So you will, as a team, cart sort 1 level only, categories but no subcategories. But I would say, though, I think that you'll have no choice but do subcategories for men, women, top, bottoms. I would definitely spend time on that, the clothing and the categories that they have for their product. This is 80% of their product. So you will have no choice but to go deeper than just men and women you will need to go to the clothing and the other choices that you would want. And in fact, that's probably a very important section for this assignment. Then you do your cart sorting. So each team member, and this is again similar to what you did. You can use Miro. I think Miro is a good place. You can use Miro for all of this. Each team member must then run a cart sorting with 2 individuals. So you will do a cart sorting as a team, but then you will do each one will have to do the cart sorting with 2 individuals, not in the UX program and not in your team. So everybody on the team needs to find 2 people with who you will offer to help to do the cart sorting. So you need people to help you. You need 2 participants to do the cart sorting and people to help. And that can be obviously your team members. And then again, you will record in Miro. So everything you do has to be in Miro so I can see the process and what has happened. And you need to keep all of the raw data. So you've done this. You've all done this. So this is what you've done. And then as a team, you will review the results across all the users, all the participants. You will run an analysis. And you'll come up with a new overall hierarchy based on the results, and you will place that in Miro. So you will first pick your card, do the content inventory, and then pick the cards that you want to do. And then you can do your card sorting as a team if you want with those cards. And then you can do, you can choose groupings if you want, and you can put labels, or you can go open card sorting with your participant and ask them to label too. You could do that too, as well with them. That will be your choice. And then, so that's the card sorting. So you're gonna do the analysis, and you have a final new overall hierarchy based on the results from the team with all of what you've seen with all the participants. So that is assignment number 1, if you remember. Now you're gonna move on to the IA. So you're gonna use the initial card sorting, and you will develop the. Before I go to the IA, I see there's a question. Do we do the 2 card sorting with each person individually, or both of them plus yourself together? Had the doubt last time too. No, you do each card sorting that everybody has to do with 2 people is done individually. So you do 1 individual at a time when you do your card sorting. So you have to do that twice with 2 people, different people. You do an hour card sorting session with 1. You do another card sorting session with the second one. Then you should ask 2 people to help you, like just to help you take notes of what happened during the sessions, what they see, what people are saying, so you can really facilitate the session. And then so you will have 2 results for your card sorting, and then your team, and then you'll come back, then you'll combine and say. Then someone else will say, here's what happened in our session. Then it will say, what do we do? What should be the new hierarchy based on what we found that is common across? So same process. I hope that answers your question. So now you're going to move on to IA. So we've done this, right? This is the IA for Zoo. So you've done a great job with the IA for Zoo. You're going to do the same thing with Roots. Now, so you're going to use your card sorting, your final card sorting, your team final hierarchy or card sorting that you've defined for Roots, and you'll develop the information for the website. So at this point, you don't necessarily care about responsive, non-responsive. It's the hierarchy that you're dealing with for the cards that you've selected. And I would say you definitely need a minimum of 50 cards. So I haven't mentioned how many cards, but 10 cards would not be enough, obviously. So 50 to 75, I think would be a good number. And then what you will do is you have to do the eye. So remember, you are asked to rethink, redesign the sites. So that means you should be making recommendations on what content should be removed, any new content that should be added to the site. And obviously the relabeling, right? So you have the freedom to say, I don't think this content is needed. In your choice of content too, for your cart sorting, make sure you don't repeat content. Meaning, you would definitely not want to have twice tops or twice bottoms, or 2 about us, or 2 type of contents that are very similar. it would be useless because you would get little. You would not get as much insights than if you're dealing with 10 different cards than if you're dealing with 5 cards with 10s, but 5 of them are a repeat, if that makes any sense. At the end, you only have 5 cards. So you want to have make sure that you don't have redundancy in your choice of cards. With some of you, I think had done with Zoo, like there was cards that were too close, too similar, that in the end you don't bring any new insights. So make sure your cards are unique, somehow unique in your sorting, and then you will know which one is probably redundant, and then you're probably going to say we're going to remove it. But you've done this. You've all done this. I will contain as many levels as you want. It's up to you. But at a minimum, your IA diagram has to have all the pages down to a maximum of 4 levels deep. So you need to make sure that each box represents a page on the side. And then the end page for the root site is a product page, right? It will be a product page, but obviously you don't show all the product page. But you'll have level 0, which is your home, level 1, level 2, level 3, and maybe you're probably going to have some level 4 too as well. I think it'll be hard to not have level 4 in the clothing category in the clothes. This is what this out. Clearly identify all levels so that I can understand the hierarchy of the site. But really, if you do a super good job of the diagram, it should be very easy for me to see the hierarchy and not even have to have a label or a legend. And I think I've been saying that all along. If you use your typical tree, as we know, I should be able to look at the IA and have a very clear sense of the hierarchy. Remember, good diagram. I give you a lot of feedback. There's no crossover of arrows. Make sure you have the boxes are connected. So I was not as rigid with some diagram. I got diagrams that didn't have boxes, links. The box were not connected. Make sure the boxes are connected at this time. So I want this IA to be perfect. And again, remember, sometimes less is better. And I think I did share with you, I don't know that you needed color coding for a lot of instances. And I gave the feedback. I've seen some diagram that had a legend called options. I don't know what options means in an IA, really. Everything is an option. So make sure that whoever's teams, I think I saw 2 teams using boxes that call options, or I saw boxes called content. Every box is a page. So to me, it's content. So I don't know that it's relevant. So be careful. Remember these little things that I'm sharing with you. A good IA does almost not need to have a legend. I should almost be reading. And the good IA for me, black and white. If you have do good job at hierarchy, I will clearly see level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Okay? But if you do choose a legend, that's okay. But make sure that it's adding value. But if you really want to challenge yourself, the IA could be done with no legend for me to really understand it by just looking at it and reading it. Feature list. So in addition to the IA diagram, I need to see a list of features. So include that in Miro. So you can have a box that says features and list them all if you want to. And then the list has to be comprehensive. I want you to think of all the features that you think that would be relevant for roots. That should be included, not in the IA, but in a separate box that says features. Very similar to this. I'll give you features. Feature or pain points that roots would like to fix or would like to find solutions for. So perhaps this could be the start of the feature list, or maybe you want to remove some, maybe you want to add some, up to you. Then the list has to be comprehensive, but not detailed. I don't need you to explain me what a specific feature means, but make sure that your features, by reading it, I have a sense of what the feature is. But you don't need to describe it. That would happen in specs, functional design, specification, functional specifications. But you need to have a list of all the features you think should be. But you don't need to give me all the details and the description on them, but just a box in itself in the IA so that I can see that you're taking into account the features and you think of new feature. Maybe there are features that you know about other retails. Their competition, You may want to do a bit of competitive and see what others do in terms of features. Obviously, maybe you want to help use the benchmark that I give you for inspiration for categories or inspiration for navigation too. So you can go that far and you will really impress me if you were to do all of this. The navigation system. So now we've done the IA. So the next step then will be moving to navigation, which is the assignment for this week that you've submitted that I look forward to review. And then using the knowledge you have so far about the client. So remember a bubble. When you do your IA, think of the bubble. Now you're going to take the bubble and think about the bubble and think about the priorities. And if you have a challenge of knowing where to start, then start with the business. And start with the business. And then think about what is relevant to routes that we should, for the level that routes should have at level 1 as a navigation. What is the navigation? The most appropriate for mobile responsive. That is a big challenge, I know. But mobile is there to stay, and mobile is a very, very important piece of us. So you're going to need to look at their current navigation from a mobile device and then see how you improve it. Do you keep it or do you improve it? How do you improve it? And see what others do it too. So it adds an extra layer of difficulties, but I know you will be good. So use the business objective. What is important to routes? What is important to the customer? And then you use your information architecture diagram, because that will tell you the groupings, that will tell you labels, that will give you a sense of priorities. What is level 1? What is level 2? What is level 3? So probably your level 1 should probably all be visible from the mobile device. Maybe not for your mobile your level 2, but how do I reveal level 2? And then move from the IA and develop the second navigation. So footer, the main navigation, call it the main, the global, the footer, the menu, the main menu, the utility, anything. You'll have to label it so that I understand. And then you'll have to show me what that navigation is. On a mobile responsive, so I'm not interested on the desktop, but if you want to show me the desktop, you can. And perhaps maybe you should, so that you don't omit, you don't forget about anything for desktop. But the biggest challenge will be for mobile responsive. But you could show me the desktop navigation if you want, and then show me how it mobile device. But I'm very much more interested in the mobile revised version. You may need to show a different screen for different levels to be able to fully understand how the navigation will work. This is up to you. And you do not need to design the actual pages inside pages. The content of the screen can be blank, but the navigation elements need to be designed. But I only need you to design me one set of navigation to show me level 1, level 2, level 3, or level 4. When I click and when I go to a page, when do I, so that I can see what the behavior. You do not need to do a prototype if you're not comfortable with doing the prototype. If you choose to do the prototype, make sure you follow all the instructions. But if you don't do a prototype, you can do sketches for your navigation if you want, or you can do wireframes, black and white. It doesn't have to be clickable, but you will need to have, regardless, I need to have annotation that explains the behavior so that I know where to go to see the behavior, and I need some explanations as well. Now, everything that you will do has to be client ready, not production ready. So that means a developer or a UX, user experience designer, would probably not have enough for him to even start. Maybe he will be able to start, but this is not production ready. So no developer is expected to be able to take your work and start building and developing, but it has to be customer friendly and client ready. If you're recommending drop-down flyout menus, off-canvas menus, or any other menus that has a motion, then you have to show it, sketch it, or tell me in your prototype. Understand all the menus to see all the levels. And if you have recommendations around the motion and timing, then it has to be included. And also, you need to articulate why you chose this approach to your design. So I need to understand why you're choosing these design. So why are you using this IA? Why are you prioritizing your IA? If you use the bubble, use the bubble. And why are you using this particular navigation? So those are the 4 pieces, and then I'm gonna go in more details about the final deliverables or what needs to all be together, and you can do all of this in Miro as well. I know we're spending a lot of time on this, but this is a big project, so and it's 30% of your mark. It's a big percentage. Do we have any questions? Am I giving too much information and you guys just want to read on your own and do your labs, and that's also an option. Up to you. I just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to ask questions about these details. I think your final deliverables, all in Miro. A project brief that provides an overview of the project, the audience, the customer, what is Roots trying to do, the process you follow, and this could describe what you did, your challenges, your recommendations, anything. You've done that in all of your assignment pretty much. So a repeat. No, there's no in-depth description and flow diagram required or not. They're not required. So for the feature list, I just need to have an exhaustive list of the features, but no description, no flow, no description, just a list of features. So where are you going to be spending more time for this exercise? If you card sorting, everybody has to do 2 sessions, then you come as a team, but pick your cards first, then you do your then you do your navigation, then you do the reporting. This is now the bit of reporting, the brief, what has happened. In your list of features. Then you can do a prototype, but if the prototype will take so much time, I'm not so much interested in a prototype as long as you give me all the answers and the content. Through a sketch, through a prototype is no good. But if you're good with prototype, and if you're still going to put annotation so I understand the behavior and your rationale, that's okay too. Okay, so maximum 2 pages for your brief, and any sketches, prototype, or other process material can optionally be included as an appendix if you want, but that's going to would be in Miro. But I would say, let's say you do a competitive analysis and you want to include it, then you can put the competitive analysis somewhere in Miro if you want. That's okay. But you need to have a maximum of 2 pages for your project brief. But on Miro, it's hard to quantify what the number of pages are. But I would say in the assignment, I was really happy with that big box, text box. For the last one, like everybody, I pretty much had a big page text box that talks about the process and your prioritization. That would work fine with me. So you need to have a Miro section on your Miro that shows the card sorting. I need to see the raw data. So I need to see everybody. Card sorting 2, participant. Card sorting 1, team member number 2 participants. I need to see this. Then I need to see your final card sorting as a team, which will be your input. Make sure that it's all there on Miro, and please make Miro editable for me so I can add comments in Miro as well. That will be much easier for me. Don't worry, I'm not going to delete or move or remove anything. Then the information architecture diagram and the feature list in Miro. And you can do, as I said, you can do a low fidelity prototype of the navigation system, or you can do sketches, you can do wireframes. I don't care, as long as it's there. And everything has to be client ready. So of course, no grammar, spelling error. Make sure you verify that there's no error. Clients don't like to see errors. You are university level. You should be doing good writing. And submit a link to Backboard. Again, only one team members needs to submit. But the benefit of everybody submitting the same information is that I can put comments, and then you all see the comments and the breakdown of your evaluation. That would be the benefit of it, of doing it. But I just really need to see. But if you're sending it, is you're all going to see the feedback and the comments. So how am I going to do the evaluation? 70 points. So I'm not going to go through all the details, but you have the detailed breakdown of what I will be evaluating you on, up to 70 points, which is worth 30% of your mark as well. So that is a big project. Are there any questions? Or at this point, there probably will be more, but we're going to work together through the stages. But don't wait for me. Don't wait for go. It's now it's time to start this project. It's a big project, and the due date is March 10. So between now and March 10, this is the only thing you can do when it comes to this class. Of course, the user flow assignment, and this is, and then you're done. We're done with the information architecture class. So this is the last final piece, but it's a big piece, but I think it's going to be fun. I really look forward to what you will come up with. I think there'll be some very, very good outcome to your work. I'm very confident because I can see how good you've done with Nightwood and how good you've done with the zoo. I think the zoo has should learn about everything you've done and then apply the new IAs. We should probably do a group IA based on all of the groups and do a zoo IA of what we think the zoo IA will be. Better than what they have today, definitely. So I'm very confident that you will impress me, that you will put everything. And again, this is for your learning. You have an opportunity to do this and then have evaluation from someone who's done this for to give you confidence. And I can see the evolution, how you guys have really improved through all the assignment, and I think I will be blown away with this assignment. So so far the class average is very high. You guys are doing very good. So I'm very happy. I can really see that you're learning well. So anyway, good luck. Okay, so I'm gonna be here until 11:25 or 11:30 for the rest of the class. If there are any questions, and then so next week, same thing. I'll be here on Tuesday afternoon. I'll be here on Wednesday morning. I'll be here on Thursday morning. So for any questions, or so these are your time now to work through the assignment and the final report, and then we'll have touch points. But next week we're meeting here as scheduled. I can answer questions. I can even give feedback. So here how kind I am. If you have you want to show me something and you want to get feedback as you go through the process, then we can do this in our session. I can give feedback. I can say, yes, right directions, no, let align, so that when you are at the end, you're going to get a superstar mark. I'm happy to do this. So take advantage of it. But I will give feedback on screen. You will show me your Miro, and then I'll be able to give you input and feedback as you go. So I'm offering this. No, I know it's normal that there are no questions yet because you guys are digesting. So as I said, go. You have the go signal. The project is yours, and I will be happy to answer any questions you might have. But make sure that you read the instructions first. If I know that you're asking me something that I know is the instruction, I will send you back to the instructions. But I will be able to provide feedback or provide any assistance. So good luck. I know you'll do good. So use this time to your leisure, and I'll be around if there are any questions. I will stop the recording, and enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your week. And thank you. And then we'll have a chance to talk again next time we meet.